Hello, this is Mitchell Edwards. Today, I will be discussing the artwork Café, Synchromy by Stanton MacDonald-Wright. The work is currently located at the Taste for Modernism Special Exhibit at the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Bentonville, Arkansas. However, while the work may currently be in the special exhibition, it is also in the permanent collection of Crystal Bridges. I chose this artwork because it has a mysterious quality that draws the viewer into it, forcing them to observe it and attempt to figure out what it is trying to show the viewer through its abstract figures and vivid colors. In person, you feel as if there is deep emotion that was placed into the artwork, and you feel as if you need to find out what that emotion is and where it stems from. Café Synchromy is an oil-on-canvas painting that was completed in the year 1918. It is roughly 2.5 feet wide by 4.5 feet tall. Therefore, it is in a portrait orientation. It is one of MacDonald-Wright's Synchromy paintings, a type of painting that he and another artist, Morgan Russell, pioneered that is based upon the idea of a symphony of color. This can be seen in the painting through the various wedges of color that are placed together and overlap to seemingly form a large polygonal abstraction. However, upon further inspection, there are two figures seemingly hidden by the web of wedges. The figures consist of a woman who is raising a glass filled with some sort of drink in the upper middle to left section of the work, and in the lower to middle to right section of the work is a man turning away from the figure of the woman. The colors used consist largely of very saturated and vivid pinks, yellows, oranges, along with a contrast of heavily saturated blues, greens, and some purple shades. The contrast of cool against warm colors caused the work to have a feeling of a dual nature, the warm against the cools, the dark against the vivid, and most notably the two figures in such close proximity, yet holding an aversion to each other, all work together in order to form a tension that would be expected to be observed in a situation comparable to two lovers fighting the inevitable end of a dying relationship. In the book written by MacDonald-Wright, A Treatise on Color, he describes violet as the color of deepest depression and likens it to the sound of someone crying, a sound that oftentimes is associated with intense sadness that would be found coming from someone experiencing the, quote, deepest depression. He also believes that blue-green holds a feeling of, quote, remembered things of sadness. As you can see, the center of the painting, there's a large amount of blue-green and violet, which according to MacDonald-Wright, indicate immense sadness and longing for past times. This could explain the seemingly downtrodden eyes of the woman and the evasive glance of the man. The painting was completed in 1918 and is a part of the Synchromism movement that was, as previously mentioned, pioneered by MacDonald-Wright and Morgan Russell. The movement placed color at a high importance and treated color as a composer would treat sound, as a symphony. In fact, in his book A Treatise on Color, MacDonald-Wright refers to the palette as a, quote, scale, and each individual color as notes. He then goes on to describe how colors appear to him as simple notes such as the simple do-re-mi scale. Through this, paintings with intense subjects stemming from the extremely vivid colors used in these paintings are made by the artists. Synchromism is encapsulated within the larger modernism movement, as expected, since the exhibition it is currently found in is titled A Taste for Modernism. It is more specifically from the early 20th century, a period where expressionism was very prevalent. The Synchromism movement is visually related to the Cubism movement, with angular shapes forming abstract figures in artworks from both movements. A comparable painting is Spring Synchromy, also by MacDonald-Wright. This painting is much more abstract than Café, as there are no easily discernible figures in the painting as compared to Café with its man and woman that are clearly defined. Spring Synchromy contains the wedges of color like that of Café, but the wedges are much more loose and much less structured. Spring Synchromy also seems to contain much less emotion than that found in Al Café. Thus, as the two works share the same style and artist as well as the same vivid colors, they are not very similar upon further inspection. Another artwork that could be compared to Al Café is Violin and Picture by George Braque. This work, which is from the Cubism movement, is similar to Al Café in that it creates realistic images through abstract shapes or wedges placed together on a canvas. However, some differences are found, such as Violin and Picture's lack of color like what is found in Al Café, and how within Al Café there are two easily discernible figures, but with Violin and Picture, the only figure readily seen is the violin, and it is much more abstract and visually broken. The correlation between Cubism and Synchromism is quite strong, as both movements contain abstract images made up of varying, typically angular shapes. The difference between the two movements seems to be the use of color. With Synchromism, it can be seen that the color seems to fade away from one hue to another, in the same manner that musical notes fade away as the sound dies down. Works identified as Cubism tend to have a more muted color palette, either monochromatic or consisting of colors with distinct separation, without any of the fade found in Synchromism. Al Café Synchromy shows intense emotion and portrayal of human life and relationships through abstract, irregular shapes and vivid, saturated colors. The raw emotion can be felt at the first exposure to the work, but upon further research and understanding of MacDonald-Wright's use of color and what each means to him, and allowing yourself to adopt those meanings for the time you observe this work, you can truly feel the amount of emotion contained within the painting concerning the couple depicted in Al Café Synchromy.